So Judge Kato, you are next, and I will keep you on time. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Eileen Kato, and I'm on the King County District Court bench and sit in Seattle. And before I became a judge, my practice was in federal tax litigation and bankruptcy. So for those of you who are in area of practice and you think, I don't know how I can be a judge doing criminal work because I haven't done it in practice, but I did great in law school at it, there's still the opportunities that are out there. And at the time, I was active with the King County Bar Association and chair of their diversity committee. And as the chair, they paid for me to go to the ABA meeting in New York. This was in 1993. And so I felt obligated to go to as many of the diversity programs that they had available, since I was representing the diversity committee of the King County Bar. And one of the programs was on minority women judges. And I came in, and there was probably about the same group, the number here, that was at the panel I went to. And so the judges were so great. And this was Constance Baker Motley, who is like a hero. I mean, she was NAACP Legal Defense Fund. Bernice Donald, who was a bankruptcy court judge at the time, and then is now a federal judge in Memphis, Tennessee, and is now waiting for an appointment to the Circuit Court of Appeals there. And Joyce Kennard, who's on the Supreme Court in California. And they said, just come on down and talk to us. We'll just make this much more informal. And so in talking to them, specifically Justice Kennard and Judge Donald said, well, give us your business card. You know, we think you should run for judge. Hadn't entered my mind. But I was so impressed and so inspired by these women. When I returned to Seattle, they actually called me on the phone and said, remember we met you? Yeah, I remember you guys. I didn't surprise you remember me. But they said, really think about it. We need more women. We need more diversity on the bench, and we encourage you to run. So that type of outreach mentoring, it's incredible the lives that you can touch. And I've tried to return the same to the women and people of color that I meet that I think would be great on the bench as well. So when I returned back to Seattle, and I got the call, and then about a week later, there was an article in the paper that a judge on the King County District Court bench would not be seeking re-election because he had some ethical issues that he was dealing with. And that would be for 1994. And I thought, that's the sign. So I decided to gear up a campaign, talk to many people, did cold calls to every Superior Court judge, every District Court judge, every Seattle Municipal Court judge, the Supreme Court, County Council, the City Council. And Washington State is amazing because people are so receptive when you say, can I get 5 minutes of your time? And I would ask them for advice on how to run for office. Who should I talk to? And while, you know, the names were new to me at the time, but then pretty soon it was the same names they were giving me over and over again. And so I talked to all of those people as well. Some of them were union people, some were in the community. But it was, I just really got wrapped up in it. And then when I went to the King County Women's Political Caucus campaign workshop, it was one weekend, it was outstanding. And the thing that I remember most from that workshop is they said, do a gut check. If you don't have that passion and that fire in your gut to go for that position, then you shouldn't. Then it's not your time. I had that fire in my gut, so I just went for it, assuming it was going to be for election. Now, in Seattle, it's primarily a Democratic base, so I really campaigned hard with the Democrats for the election. Then the judge was removed from office. I think he was the first judge removed by the Supreme Court in May of 1994. And filing at that time was the last week of July. And so I thought they would just proceed for it to go to election, but the county council decided, no, we'll appoint instead. So I had to switch gears. So I have had the distinct pleasure of going both in the same, as well as Judge Fleck. So I had to switch from the election to the appointment process. At the time, it was majority Republicans on the King County Council. Now, the interesting thing on this one is that I was concerned because by going through the appointment process in Seattle at the time, 2 of the 5 judges on that bench were Asian American. I thought, man, there's no way they're going to do that. There are no African Americans, there are no Latinos, there are no Native Americans on this bench. Why would they appoint a 3rd Asian American? So I just decided, well, I'm in gear here. I've still got that gut check here, and so I just decided to proceed. And the amazing thing is I was also active in a number of community organizations, one of which was the Empty Space Theater, which is now defunct. But I was on their board of directors for a number of years primarily because of my bankruptcy background. And everyone knows what happened to the Empty Space, as well as, unfortunately, a number of other theaters. But the president at the time said, "Is there anything I can do to help you with your campaign? I can make some phone calls." I said, "Oh, I appreciate it, whatever you can do," not knowing at the time that this person was a huge Republican contributor over on the East Side. And he picked up the phone and he called council members, and it was I think it was a 9-member council at the time, and I got 6 of the votes, which were half Republican votes and all the Democratic votes. So you never know. They appointed the 3rd Asian to the bench, a Republican-dominated council, and you just never know what's going to happen. So you do have to believe in yourself and persevere. Campaigning to me was wonderful. I'd never run for hall monitor, even in elementary school, so the whole campaign process was new to me. It's very exciting, but you have to prepare yourself because it is a grind. Sometimes 3 and 4 dinners a night, and always happy, always on. But it's so rewarding, and it's been an honor and a privilege to serve since 1994 on the bench.